All right, guys. Just I know a few others joined us. We're going to record this real quick. This will just be like a 15, 20-minute session. And so we're going to go over Connor's post. And so this is Ghost Child Bones. We had really good volume. We actually are still seeing really good volume. He bought in, so it kind of like peaked out a little bit. And remember, we got back here first pump, but like we always talk about, if volume is really, really hot, then that first pump play, you can always kind of hold out a little bit and just let it play out, let the volume play out. We saw that with D Labs the other day, right? Where volume was really, really good. And, selling on that first pump isn't always the smartest thing if volume's just really, really high. And especially now with, these momentum plays making such an impact on the space, right? It's kind of the meta right now. And so volume's really, really good. And then it kind of bottomed out. So everything's always going to retrace, right? It's healthy. You always want to see retraces. If you don't see a retrace and it just goes straight up vertically, then that's full on like team, floor manipulation. Like teams likely buying if it goes vertical, completely vertical, right? Or if some whale just picks up a ton. But you always want to see charts kind of progress naturally, going up and down. And so, yeah, you had a kind of a little pump here. Connor did the smart thing and, was looking for it to kind of run sideways. So let's find that point. Looks like the first all-time or the all-time high. I just want to make sure I'm all lined up here. So looks like he bought right here, right? Because it's moving up, took that dip, took that big hike. And so he's buying in right here. All right, so let's zero in on that. And as you can see, volume kind of slowed down a little bit. And I don't know what gas was like at the time. Sometimes gas will kind of halt volume. And Connor, feel free to leave comments here. Okay, so I found the right spot. So it just depends on the reason for it to all of a sudden just slow down with volume. So you kind of had a little break there. It could be gas. It could be another project that just minted out and is taking away some of the attention. And so we always talk about, hey, let's find, a place where it kind of runs sideways for that stage one buy, right? The only thing is the further away you do get away from mint and volume starts slowing down, it's very difficult to find out if this is a stage one or a stage four, possibly, where it just runs down longer or starts going down more, right? Because it could be a prolonged stage four, right? It's heading down and it kind of levels out and it keeps going down. Like that's still, we're all in four, right? But in this case, it leveled out, had a little tiny pump, it leveled out again, and then volume starting to break down. And I can see why, Connor, why you kind of like, hey, this, volume's slowing down and it's headed down. You always think the worst, right? Like this is going to go to zero. And this is where it's important to look at support levels, okay? So we talk about support levels all the time. And what I mean by that is just levels of where it kind of like bounced off last, right? So if you're looking at all the support levels here, you've got a ton of them to choose from. And when they're close like this, I'd consider just this one support level, And you have two at 0.06. You have another one right around 0.07. Another one about 0.08. About 0.09. Look, it's like almost going up exactly in 0.01, which, it makes sense. We talk about those thresholds, how it's really hard to break through, certain thresholds. Like right now, 0.2 is the threshold it's trying to break, and it's going to be very difficult to. And so when you're buying in, Connor, I mean, so you bought in here, and you have to almost like ahead of time go in with the idea like, okay, I'm going to put my stop loss at this support level, right? Like I'm coming in at, 0.09. I think that's what what you said you came in at. Let's see. So 0.1, okay. And then sold at 0.094, okay. So you got in here and you just want to find out, okay, obviously, this is really short, stop loss. you kind of want to find out where your stop loss is. And I think you took it at 0.094, which is right around here. And so two things. First of all, I don't know what gas was like or what the rest of the market was like. That's what could have slowed down this volume. I'm not sure if there was some sort of announcement here or maybe some sort of alpha call. I know they haven't, or have they revealed? I don't think they revealed yet. So something happened here that was a catalyst that made it run again, okay? And so, first of all, you're not wrong in kind of like panicking a little bit because volume's slowing down. Like we always talk about, like volume is king, right? You do want to kind of sell once it breaks through a support level that you're willing to take that stop loss. Does that make sense? So, you know, if I were to buy in right here, my stop loss would probably be either at this support level. If I was really believing in the project, I'd kind of come down here, but I'd kind of wait for it to break through 0.08, somewhere right around there. And if it broke through 0.08, then I'm just going to floor it, right? But, you know, just being kind of patient for it to play out. And I know I say that hindsight, like it's so easy to say that with this chart, but, you know, the support levels is, you know, the analytics that I look at, you know, and so I can confidently say that, you know, I would have looked right around here for it to break here before taking a loss. That said, again, I can see why you sold because volume is king, and then something happened here with the catalyst for it to run. But, you know, let it at least give some patience with, and I know 0.1's not chump change either, right? But give it some patience to break through these support levels because you got to be confident, like, hey, when it hits here, you know, it's going to bounce off. If it hits here, I'm going to be confident that it bounces off. And at least go 2 support levels down, you know. I mean, if they're dramatic, that's one thing, but if they're just kind of tiny like this, let them play out just a little bit longer. And there's other, we always talk about, like, you know, painting the story as well, right? You know, I don't know what the unique owners were at the time. I don't know what the floor walls were like. So there could have been some thin walls. Listings could have been going up or down. So there's more to it than just the support levels, but that would be the first thing I would look at before taking a stop loss, is just, you know, trusting the chart. So I'm going to check in with you here. Maybe you answered some questions there. Okay, so gas was about the same. So does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you guys. This isn't easy regardless. And I want to tell you also that I've made, you know, the same kind of mistake before as well, where you sell kind of early and then it just runs and you just like kick yourself, right? That said, Connor, like you play the conservative play, which I tend to do as well. And so, you know, one thing you can't do is just based off of that mistake is just hang on forever, hoping that this is going to happen every time, because most of the time this doesn't happen every time, right? So it's better to be a little conservative. And yeah, I know you lost like 0.06 or whatever it was with gas, which is never fun, but you got your hands dirty too, right? We talked about that yesterday. It's really important to, you know, make trades and learn from your mistakes. And either way, this was still, you know, a gamble because volume slowed down. And so that's like the red panic button, is when volume slows down. But again, going back to just painting that story, painting that picture, and, you know, support levels are a big part of that. And so let it prove to you first that it's going to break through this support and it's going to go nowhere before exiting next time. And that would be my advice, you know. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. You know, just kind of trust the charts, you know, and trust these support levels. And I know it's hard because it's a newer project, and I talk about that sometimes, how support levels don't always work with newer projects because it's literally like less than a day old. So let's see what Andre here sold Doge at 0.04. Um, did you make some profit though? So I don't know. I mean, if you made some profit, then I would say you're a good trader. No matter what. Like the whole goal of becoming a trader is making profit, and so if you make profit, then you're a good trader. So um, don't ever judge yourself based off of how much profit you made. Judge yourself by how many profit plays you have, right? Like if you have 100 plays that are profitable, it doesn't really matter what the ETH is. Everybody trades at different levels. The goal is to have profit after profit after profit. You just stack it, right? It's not going for that moonshot. It's just stacking the ETH over time by using these trading strategies, right? Yeah, well, hey man, as long as you made some. Yeah, when listings slow down and sales pick up, that's when you buy. There's lots of ways. Actually, I can post a pretty cool video on that exact thing, and it talks about. Let me pull up that same chart. Jeez, I got so many windows open. Sorry, guys. Talks about using the 5-minute and the 10-minute listings, and just some buy and sell signals you can find. So yeah, that again, Nemo talks about that. That's just another part of painting that story of using everything, using what the current trends are, using what gas is, using what these walls are, how many unique owners there are, next blue chip probability, and it can get kind of overwhelming. And so one of the biggest ways I like to simplify it, when looking to make exits and entries, is to look at these support levels, look at volume, obviously, and have a strategy going in. Like whenever I come in, like if I'm coming in at 0.09, I'm going to already ahead of time, like, okay, I like how it bounced off here, and then maybe bounced off there earlier and earlier. Like I want to come in here and put my stop loss just under this support level, right? Because it can go, let's just call this 0.08 as a support level. You can go to 0.079, and have a bunch of transactions pending through there. So I'm still kind of hanging tight, but if it goes below, 0.079, 0.078, I'm just going to floor it and then move on to the next opportunity. And then also have, on the flip side of that, have a strategy for when you're going to sell. And for me, that oftentimes is, I'm going to wait. Like I would have sold right here and been completely happy with that. Like Connor, for instance, like if you were to buy at the 0.1 and it runs to 0.14, and I'm starting to see it slow down in volume, I probably would have sold here and could care less that I missed out on another pump. You sell, and then now you just look for other opportunities to get in if volume's still really good. I would have walked away because you can see how spotty the volume is at that point. Let's see where it's at now. Yeah, it's running again now. So this would kind of spark my interest again. I think it's trending number 1 right now. But the majority of your trading would want to be in here though, right? Look how much volume there is. It's just a safer play when you have tons of volume, and these retraces and pumps are more predictable. And then as they get further away, as the chart moves right, it becomes more risky. But anyway, I hope that helps, guys. Let's see. Yeah, hey Connor, learning, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's usually some sort of catalyst, there isn't always. There's sometimes just out of nowhere, there could be insider trading. There could be just some whale that just snags up a bunch. But that's still the catalyst, right? It's a whale, sweeping a bunch that brings volume back up into trending number 1. That's sometimes often what can create pumps. And another thing to think about too, maybe if you are active in Twitter, is just you're following big accounts. If people are tweeting that they swept, or looking at wallets, what wallets are sweeping. I mean, there's so much, and simplify it. Like once you can paint the story really well as an advanced trader, that's great to look at all those metrics. But if you're in the learning process and just learning how to flip, I would say volume, key indicator number one, and have a strategy going in with support levels, and be patient and don't panic. Let the chart play out. Let the chart be healthy with all these pumps and retraces. And don't get greedy, right? That'd be the other thing. That's something I screwed up on a lot. I would just get so driven that I have like this wonderful call, and I bought in, and I think that it's going to go to the moon. It's going to go to 1 ETH, right? And you see all the hype, and you're just thinking like, I'm going to hang on for dear life. And you're still hanging on here, and you're like, oh man, this is going to go to 1 ETH for sure. And then I just watch it slowly go down, and don't sell, and don't look at support levels, and I just watch it go to zero, right? Used to do that all the time, man, all the time. And sometimes even now, like sometimes I get stubborn with like, no, this is a great play. I'm going to hang on to it. So it's something that never really goes away. You just have to constantly remind yourself and have a strategy going in, and have blinders on about who the project is, and just treating it as a token, and playing the charts and playing the volume. And then you'll keep seeing ETH. All right, guys. I hope that helps. Connor, thanks for bringing that up, man. I mean, that's what we need in this community. We need, we talk about, posting our wins and all that, but there's going to be times where we lose as well. And like, what can we do about it? What is something that I could have done differently to have a different outcome? And sharing it within the community, and it's not just me. Others can chime in. I know we had other people chime in, and we just completely grow together. That's what it's all about. All right, guys. Nico, I've been seeing this. This is like a derivative, because we just had just a profile picture, so now this looks like a derivative. DK. So stop loss, that's coming, and that will be a game changer. North App is actually, I've talked about North App a lot, and we have some North founders in here. But yeah, you're going to be able to pre-approve your wallet ahead of time, and say, hey, I want to stop loss at say 0.07, and you can go take the dog for a walk, and if it breaks through that support level, and it'll automatically list your NFT. Doesn't mean it's going to sell, right? But it'll list it at a stop loss for you. So that's down the road. Once that happens, the advanced traders, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Alpha Camp is going to be all advanced traders, especially when we mint out and keep doing these classes over and over again. As advanced traders, we have all of our stop losses dialed in, and I would love to see, all of us like, all right, hey, let's do this mint analysis. Let's move in, and we all move in together on projects. I mean, we could literally move floors if we wanted to, right? Or hey, there's this secondary play. Let's all move in on it together, and look at support levels together, buy and sell together, right? And just, bring in ETH together at the same time, which would be amazing. I mean, I would love to see, these wins down here, every week have like just one massive play where we bring in a ton of ETH together. So that's the vision, guys. All right. Well, this is recorded. I'm going to put it up in case you came in late or missed it. I hope you guys got value out of it. And I'll be hanging out all day. I'm going to give you guys some sneak peeks of the token too. Pretty excited about it. So, all right, guys. Peace out.